Viewer discretion is advised.
What do you do when an officer lies through his teeth and tags on false charges against you? What do you do when your defense attorneys try to pressure you into accepting a plea deal? What do you do when the judge in your case, along with the prosecutor and your own defense attorneys, conspire to have you imprisoned? What you're about to witness is a massive case of deliberate court corruption.
Let's go and get a warrant.
At the court hearing. Mr. Sanchez is standing in the...
Joe's probably calling his attorney frantically out there. Because he wants it executed. He's not going to come save him, I'll bet you. So we're going to execute the warrant. But he's out there, probably waiting on his attorney or something.
Could I just know what time the warrant was issued? What time did my attorney leave? Boom, perfect timing.
Hello my friends, my name is Don Andre, and in today's video, well, we're going to be exposing a lot of different people. Some of these individuals are police officers, while others hold higher positions of authority. Today we'll be exposing UPD officer Jared Cardon, attorney Heather Chesnut, attorney Daniel Torrence, prosecutor Nathanael Swift, and Judge Katherine Bernards-Goodman of the West Jordan 3rd District Court in Utah. Before I dive deeper into this investigation, I must emphasize that these are allegations. You are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. I'll be leaving timestamps for those of you who want to skip the backstory of this case, but I do recommend watching the entire video to fully understand the severity of what's really going on here. With that said, let's get started. This is Luis Sanchez. He contacted me on Facebook on July 8th, 2021, asking for assistance in exposing defense attorneys, a district court judge, a prosecutor, a bailiff, and a court clerk. He assured me that he had a wealth of evidence to prove everything he was telling me was true. As you can imagine, I was extremely skeptical. I had never encountered a case with this much evidence presented to me. This case is about corruption in every sense of the word. I want to give Luis Sanchez a shout out for his inspiring determination in seeking justice. After enduring all the lies, deceit, and corruption since 2014, Luis took matters into his own hands and filed a lawsuit against his own defense attorneys as a pro se plaintiff. Luis has a bright future in this community, and I'm proud to call him a dear friend. Hey guys, if you haven't already, hit that like button. I'm excited to announce the launch of our brand new course, Section 1983 Civil Rights Litigation, a Pro Se Guide, created by Luis Sanchez and myself. If you've been the victim of civil rights violations, you know just how difficult it can be to find a lawyer who'll take your case. Why? Because many attorneys either don't have the time, the resources, or the incentive to take on these battles. So you're left with two choices: give up or fight back on your own. I'm here to tell you, you can fight back, and you don't need a lawyer to do it. In this course, we break down the entire process of filing a civil rights lawsuit without an attorney. You'll get step-by-step guidance, real-world strategies, templates, and tools to file your case with confidence. We've been through it ourselves. Combined, Luis and I have successfully navigated 3 civil rights lawsuits. Now we're sharing everything we've learned with you, from gathering evidence to drafting motions. We'll show you how to fight for your rights even when the system is stacked against you. For just $1.99, you'll have all the resources you need to take control of your case and go after justice on your terms. The time to act is now. Don't let the system keep you down. Check the link in the description, and let's get started. Now, back to the investigation. Mr. Sanchez has always maintained his innocence and demanded a jury trial for the charges that stemmed from an alleged DUI. Countless times, he had requested video recordings of his arrest. Officer Jared Cardon from the UPD claimed his dash camera had been malfunctioning that night. The remaining recordings taken at the police station were unlawfully deleted by police, and other reports were withheld from Mr. Sanchez. His constant demand for a trial and his refusal to pleading guilty allegedly angered his attorneys. On March 19, 2018, Luis Sanchez had arrived early to court. He said he spent a few minutes waiting in his car to kill some time before entering the courthouse. Sanchez states he was outside the courtroom doors by 9 a.m. He also claims he attempted to walk inside, but that the courtroom was overcrowded. This was evident from courtroom video recordings. Sanchez says he waited outside the courtroom doors to let things clear up a bit before attempting to find a seat. He explains that he didn't go in because in the past, he had been instructed multiple times to wait outside and not block the doors due to safety concerns.
In 2018, I had a court hearing, a pretrial court hearing, I believe. Court hearings weren't to begin until 9 a.m. I arrived in front of the courtroom doors around a few minutes before 9, for sure. And it was packed, it was overflowing with people, so I couldn't even get inside. So I waited in front of the courtroom doors. They have benches on the side because of the same reason. And I was waiting. I waited for a few minutes until I saw that it cleared up a bit, and I decided to go in. Once I went in, I didn't see my attorney, Daniel Torrence, but I saw Heather Chesnut, which was on my case as well. After a few minutes, I walk up to her and I ask her if Daniel Torrence is going to be absent, as he had been absent at the previous court hearing. She tells me that my case had already been called and to just wait until the judge calls my case again. At that moment, I realized that something was up, because I had been in front of the courtroom by 9 and I didn't see Daniel Torrence leave. So I started to get really nervous. So I made sure to document what time I spoke with Heather Chesnut, just in case later on I needed that information. And to my surprise, they had called my case 15 minutes before any court proceeding was to start. They called my case around 8:45, and they did it in order to get a warrant out for my arrest for failure to appear.
Let's go and get a warrant.
8:40 a.m. Heather Chesnut points at the clock on the wall. Note that court hearings and her client, Mr. Sanchez, are not scheduled to start until 9 a.m.
Is it time? 8:45. 4 minutes. 8:45.
The Travis case?
Heather, let's call him before you get involved with talking to somebody.
Well, I mean, we've got.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Oh, you're ready? Good.
8:45 a.m. Right on cue. Prosecutor Nathanael Swift walks up to go on record and falsely accuse Mr. Sanchez of frequently missed court hearings and tardiness.
Thank you. That's all I'm ready on for now.
Sanchez.
And, Your Honor, Mr. Torrence is here today. We're ready on Mr. Sanchez.
82, State of Utah versus Sanchez. Excuse me.
He's not present, Your Honor.
And you don't expect him? Or?
Judge Katie Bernards-Goodman just asked that very important question because it's only 8:45 a.m. and she is very aware that court proceedings do not start until 9 a.m.
I'm sorry?
And you're not expecting him to come?
Well, I always expect him, although last time he was not here, and it was only after my secretary called him that he remembered to come, so...
Court records show that Mr. Sanchez was present with Heather Chesnut at previous hearings, which ironically were rescheduled by Judge Bernard-Goodman due to Mr. Torrance's absence, not Sanchez.
Mr. Sanchez has a history of coming in very late.
Out of dozens of court hearings, court records show that Mr. Sanchez was late once and missed only one court date. Note this case has been active for over 5 years due to the ineffective assistance of defense attorneys Heather Chesnut and Daniel Torrence.
He has missed a few altogether.
So bench warrant?
After Prosecutor Nathanael Swift lied to the court, he proceeded to request a warrant against Mr. Sanchez, even though court proceedings weren't scheduled to begin for another 15 minutes.
I'd ask for a warrant, and what we have the problem for is I don't intend on setting this. I don't want to set it for trial until we square away the discovery type issues and stuff, and so he needs to be here for that.
All right, we'll set a bench warrant, $15,000 cash, commenced bond forfeiture.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all I have this morning. If I could be excused.
We're going to take him into custody. Hey, Steve?
At 9:05 a.m., the courtroom is overcrowded, with people standing between the doors and waiting outside for seats to become available. At 9:07 a.m., Mr. Sanchez walks in wearing a white-collared shirt and gray pants. Bailiff Steve Adams appears to inform Judge Bernard-Goodman of his arrival.
Oh, State of Utah versus Bradford.
At 9:17 a.m., Mr. Sanchez approaches Heather Chesnut. She would inform Sanchez that a warrant had been issued for his arrest and instructed him to wait until the judge called his case again. Prosecutor Nathanael Swift sees Mr. Sanchez speaking to Heather Chesnut at 9:17 a.m. It's now 10:43 a.m. It takes Prosecutor Nathanael Swift about an hour and a half before he finally decides to inform Judge Bernard-Goodman that Mr. Sanchez is waiting between the doors. Keep in mind, Mr. Sanchez has been seen in clear view of the judge, the clerks, the bailiff, his attorneys, and the prosecutor for again the past hour and 36 minutes. Mr. Sanchez can now be seen on his phone, unsuccessfully attempting to reach his defense attorney, Daniel Torrence.
Your Honor, I'm at the court. Mr. Sanchez is standing in the...
Was that one we already called?
Yeah.
And issued a warrant because he's always late or not showing up? And we're going to execute the warrant. So we'll see if he comes in here, calls his case. So he's probably calling his attorney practically out there. Because he wants it executed. He's not going to come save him, I'll bet you. So we're going to execute the warrant. But he's out there, probably waiting on his attorney or something. He's good at what he does. He doesn't ask until he's between him and the door.
At 10:47 a.m., the obvious attempt to cover up their actions begins. They allegedly falsify court records and justify the unlawful arrest.
Sometime after 9 o'clock. But this isn't a social event.
I'm at 9:38.
38 minutes late.
So maybe we should call it so that we can document what time he came in. Yeah. State of Utah versus Sanchez.
Judge Katie Bernards-Goodman and Prosecutor Nathanael Swift go on record to deliberately lie about the time Mr. Sanchez arrived at court.
Okay, Mr. Sanchez, I just want to make sure we see you before you go back. Your case was already called this morning. We just saw you arrive about 10 minutes ago, which would have been a quarter to 11.
I've been here since 9:08.
Well, you did not come to our courtroom until a quarter to 11. This is the third time you have either missed or been hours late. So we issued a bench warrant for you hours ago. We're going to execute on it this time. I believe we told you last time if you were late, you're going to go into custody. So
I spoke with Heather at 9:17.
Okay.
I was here earlier.
Judge Katie Bernards-Goodman ignores Mr. Sanchez's statement, and his defense attorney Heather J. Chesnut remains silent.
Your Honor, I saw the defendant here. When I first saw him, I recognized him. I looked at the clock. It was 9:38 is when I saw him here. I'll note for the record that his attorney is the one that called the case, and we've had this conversation at least 3 times.
Could I just know what time the warrant was issued? What time did my attorney leave?
that you can ask your attorney about that, but we didn't issue it until after 9, and you're here way after that.
When I created the video, I tried to get some media attention to it. I contacted many local news stations, many local reporters and journalists. Nobody wanted to cover the case. Everybody refused, and the only thing that did happen was that one of the news stations or reporters that I contacted, they got in contact with the judge and showed them the video that I had posted on YouTube. And based based on that, the judge removed herself from the case. I didn't get any media attention from it, but at least I got a new judge from that.
Guys, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more we need to cover. This investigation sheds light on how easily the justice system can be manipulated against the average citizen. It raises an important question. How often has this occurred in the past? For further information on this case, please visit our website at mydefenseguide.org. It's time to hold those responsible accountable. Share this video, express your concerns. This needs to be exposed. Thank you so much for watching and stay tuned for part 2.
Maybe if you would want to touch on the fact that Heather Chesnut is now the Attorney General's office new civil rights attorney, and how
She's a civil rights attorney?
yes, for the Attorney General's office.
You can't make this shit up.
I'm telling you, man,
You can't make this shit up. This is crazy.
that's as soon as she left the, what is it called? I guess she got a lot of heat from co-workers, or at least that's what my other attorney told me. And so she left the Salt Lake Legal Defender Association and she moved to the Attorney General's office as their new civil rights attorney. And that is why I believe the AG's office refused to investigate, refused to even acknowledge my complaint